Hey guys, update time. The sun's really bright right now. I'm gonna squint really hard throughout this. All right, I said I was working hard to get the car. That was like the first step of my process. So, ba-boom. There it is. Yeah. It's a 2019 Honda Civic EX. And I really like it. Yeah. Wanted to do the quick little walk around there. I like those wheels. All right, let me jump in, and actually, I'll do another shot like this of the interior too. I actually have seat covers I put on. These are all seat covers for driving Lyft and Uber. They are waterproof and scratch resistant, all that stuff. Yeah, that's what the interior looks like. I took all the same decorations that I had in my last car in the RAV and just moved them in here. Got my signs hanging up. I'm still rocking those signs. So yeah, that's the interior. All right, let me jump in here. Switch the around. Okay. Let me mount it too. It'd be easier for me, I think. That's not too bad, I guess. It's a little goofy. A little worried I'm gonna start sweating here because I'm directly in the sun. I might actually just turn the car around and like park it. I think I'm gonna do that. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be like drenched in sweat by the end of this video.
Start recording.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go to those parking spots over there. I thought the sunlight would come in at a different angle than it is. Oh, there's a spot just totally in the shade. Yep, I'll take it. Nice. All right. Woo! Hi guys. Oh, I'm pumped. Yes, okay. So, as I said in my last video, car is the first step of the process. I just want to like review the whole let me turn it off. I just want to review like the whole event that it was of getting this car, because I've never worked that hard in my life. It was really intense. It was I don't even know if I want to say it was difficult, because I don't know if it really was. It's kind of what I want to talk about in this video, is this idea of something that would seem difficult, but in practice, it might depend on the activity, I suppose. But so I worked for about 2 months straight, averaging 55 hours of work per week. I would wake up, do a tiny like maintenance workout, which was like basically below maintenance even. It was really small. I would literally walk for maybe 5-ish minutes on a treadmill, maybe jog for some of it. Anybody tuning in for the first time, I'm overcoming a speech impediment, so when I go some of it instead of just saying some of it, that's why. All right, so I would go on the treadmill for like 5-ish minutes, and then I would do just some push-ups and squats real quick, and that was pretty much it. I would do some stretches, and that was it. It would take me 10 minutes. I was like, I justified it or whatever to myself by saying, well, at least it's something. 10 minutes of that is more than 0 minutes. So I was like, all right. And I really wanted to maximize, like, I remember even waking up early some days. Like, my mom doesn't usually work on the weekends, and like I said in my last video, she would use the car in the morning, so I could only use it afternoons and nights. So on weekends, I would know it, like on Friday nights, I would plan ahead, like, okay, I'm gonna wake up earlier tomorrow. I'm gonna lose a little bit of sleep to wake up like an hour and a half earlier. And I would do that on weekends to get extra hours on the weekends. Like, I just went really hard in maxing out the hours. I switched from eating breakfast to having a protein shake for breakfast, and then for lunch and dinner I would for lunch I would get chipotle, and I would ask for extra everything plus 2 tortillas on the side, and I would have half of the bowl and then 1 tortilla for lunch. And I would bring a like a little insulated cooler lunch bag with me, and a glass container. So when I'd get the chipotle for lunch, I'd just dump it into the glass container, and then eat half, have one of the tortillas with it, and then I'd put the top on that, put that in my cooler. I would bring a reusable ice pack. I'd leave that in there with it, and then for dinner, which I also had on the road, I would go back to that, have the other half. So I'd start around 2 p.m. and I'd get home around 1 a.m. I'd have lunch during rush hour traffic to avoid the frustration that it is, and to decrease the probability that I would get into an accident. And then I would, at 9:30, I would end my last ride, and then I'd eat dinner, and then I'd switch to doing deliveries. I'd do Uber Eats deliveries from about 10, somewhere between 10 and 10:30 I would start, and I'd go till about 12:30, getting home at about 1 a.m. And then when I would get home, go in the kitchen, wash out the glass container that I used, utensil, and then I would just brush and floss, take a shower, go to sleep. That was literally it. No TV, no scrolling social media. I don't scroll social media. I haven't scrolled social media in like 5 years. And I encourage all of you to at least do it less. That was my schedule, though. I would wake up at 11:30, which people tend to go, which is understandable, because most people go to sleep around, I don't know, somewhere between like 9 p.m. and midnight. So if you're waking up at 11:30, it seems like you're, either sleeping a long time, or hopefully if you have it in your head that they probably just work a different work schedule. So I would get 9 hours of sleep every night. That was the only thing I really prioritized throughout that process, throughout that time. And I wouldn't take days off, really. I would. It's tough to say. For me, a day off is me being alone. I lean more introverted than extroverted, so I recover and rejuvenate and all those other words when I'm alone. So if I'm hanging out with people, even if I'm having a fucking great time, if I'm hanging out with people, I don't really feel like I'm recharging per se. So I don't really count that as like time off, even though most people probably would. I just don't, because for me it doesn't feel like it is, because it's not. I'm not recharging during those times. So So sleep was a really high priority because I knew I wouldn't be taking as much time to myself. I would take some time to myself. Sometimes I'd work only half a day. So I'd take maybe 4 to 6 hours of time to myself. And that would usually look like either staying home and just not talking with anybody, or I'd go to a nature park that I like a lot that's around here and just spend a couple hours there. Usually I would journal. I didn't play any video games throughout the time because they're too like, I don't know if I have the right words for this, but they're too like dopamine triggering, or too they're so enjoyable. Let me just word it this way. They're so enjoyable that everything else seems to be like, oh great, I'm out here driving again, and it feels kind of miserable because it's boring. So I just didn't do it because previously I've tried this too. Like a few years ago, I was like, all right, I'm gonna work every day for 2 weeks straight, and I did. And I didn't play any video games during that time because I was like, you know what, something tells me if I do that at the end of the night or whatever, even if it's just for like half an hour, it's just I'm not gonna feel every day. I'm just gonna be like, oh, I wish I was home, like playing video games or whatever. Everyone's probably like, oh, Zach really likes video games. Like, yeah, I guess. It's not even that. It's just that most activities I could do are going to be more enjoyable than sitting in the chair driving people around for a huge chunk of time out of my day. You do that, like imagine being, so 2 p.m. to 1 a.m. is 11 hours of your time. Granted, I'm spending some of that time eating lunch, eating dinner, stopping to use the restroom or whatever. Yeah, that's true. So let's say it's about 2 hours subtracted from that 11 hours. So 9 hours a day driving people, and even the other 2 hours you're still in your car. So it's a lot of time to just be like, try to not get really bored. It's pretty tough. And you do that Monday, and then you do it Tuesday, and then you do it again Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You get the point. I'm exaggerating. Well, I'm not exaggerating because that was it, but I'm drawing it out for comical things. All right. It wasn't actually that hard though. When doing things like that, people say, oh, you're so disciplined, like you really push yourself. I don't though, because for me, that perspective burns you out relatively quickly. So what I do is I call it surrendering to, that's really it. That's the main word right there, is just like surrendering. And it's surrendering to doing whatever the activity is that you've chosen to do that is probably challenging for you in some kind of way. So it didn't really feel like force. Sometimes it felt like forcing myself, but most of the time I would just kind of and I'm making it seem a little more miserable than it actually was, because I wouldn't even let myself do that. It was a very strong practice in stoicism continuously for the whole time. It was just like, get up. Okay, you're up. It was very bland. It was very bland. But it stabilized any like emotional fluctuations. It kept me very level the whole time, which I think is what got me through it. I was never really, I would just avoid like being super happy, feeling excited, really high energy. I would avoid being like, oh, miserable, depressed, angry, whatever. And I'd pull the reins in whenever I was going too high. I'd just be like, all right, Zach, calm down. Yes, it's cool. You feel great. Good. That's nice. All right. Good. I'm glad. And I would just level myself back out. And then whenever I'd start to drop too low, I'd be like, all right, Zach, chill out, dude. You're getting too worked up. You're too anxious. You're too angry. You're too whatever. Just calm down. And I'd get back to the middle. And doing that over and over, combined with this using the word surrender in my head, like surrender to the hard work, surrender to the shit that you don't want to do, and surrender to the doing it of it anyway. And that's what I would do. And honestly, it wasn't like those words went through my mind every single day, because after a while, after the first like maybe week, you just wake up. Like you just get up, you take the shower, you wake up, you exercise a little bit, you take the shower, you make the protein shake, you leave your house, you drive, you eat lunch, you drive, you eat dinner, you drive, you go home, you take a shower, you sleep. I mean, that's really it. It just becomes, it's just what you do after a while. And I also stopped absorbing any sort of stories, I'm going to call them, that were unrelated to the story that I was writing with my actions every day. So like I was writing the story of I'm getting the car, I'm getting the apartment. Like this is the story I'm writing, this is what I'm doing. I don't want to hear about anyone else's stories right now, because they're distracting. They pull me into their vibe, their mode, their lifestyle, their whatever, and I don't want to be pulled into anybody else's right now. I need to stay firmly in my own. If I'm going to last working 55 hours a week for 2 months straight, if I'm going to actually accomplish that, I have to block basically everything else out. The only stories, that's just the word I'm using, that I would really listen to were ones that were like I re-listened to a couple of David Goggins interviews. I listened to a few Jocko Willink interviews, a few Sean Ryan episodes, just like people talking about doing things that were really difficult. Those were the only stories I would listen to during this whole time, because they were related enough to keep me concentrated and in the mindset that would help me accomplish my task rather than distract me from it. Yeah. All right. I guess I've said enough about... Oh, and then it took from the time I first looked at the vehicle to the time I drove it off of the lot and drove it home. It was 25 days. It's like going to the gym every day, and you're in the gym all day, and you sleep in the gym, but the gym is somehow designed to help you challenge and improve your patience. That's what it was like. It was like exercising a psychological patience muscle every day. I don't want to go into the whole description of why it took that long. Just know it took 25. Usually it'll take, sometimes it'll take one trip to the dealer to get everything good to go, and you literally drive it off the lot. Maybe like after being at the dealership for 3 hours, maybe 1 or 2, maybe 4. I was trying not to say 4 because I always stutter on 4, even though I don't always stutter on 4. I get frustrated with my speech sometimes. It was a lot of patience. 25 days is a ridiculously long time to have to go through to get the car that you're looking at. So anyway, that was just another part I wanted to touch on real quick. All right, what's next? I got the car. I've recapped what it was like to get the car. Now I'm shifting my focus to apartment. I wanna, what's the word here? Zoom out. I want to zoom out for a moment and say the retreats, the sanctuaries that I want to create, that's still my main goal here. That's why I'm doing everything that I'm doing. I need a base camp. I need a stronger foundation to live in while I work toward these larger goals that I have. That strong foundation for me is living environment needs to improve, and that's the main one. Honestly, it's really just that one. That piece is the main one. I'd say car, like, ability to get myself around needs to improve as well, but that's honestly not the most important one there. Excuse me. My health is good enough, like my physical health is good enough, mental health is good enough, emotional health is good enough, relationships are good enough, my career is good enough right now, my job is good enough, my finances are good enough. Basically every other area of my life is good enough, but it was just the living environment area of life that I needed to improve for me to consider my base camp to be of sufficient quality to then grow out of. So that was like the last ingredient or whatever that I really wanted to do to accomplish. I have to remember to look at the camera lens more often. I'm gonna look away from it a lot, but I do need to look at it more frequently at least. All right, so what's next? I got the car, the apartment's next. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did to get the car, to get the apartment. So I'm gonna work just straight through, work lots of hours every week. Today is October 5th, and I have been saying I want to get the apartment by the end of November. It occurred to me recently, I was like, you know, a lot of times the move-in date is the first of the month, so it might be the 1st of December that I actually get to move in, just because of how that works most of the time, unless the person happens to move out in the middle of November, or if it's just an apartment that's been vacant for like a long time. So it might happen in the very beginning, like the first day or few days of December, but you get the point. That's the time frame. So that gives me about a month and a half, roughly, to get the money together for first month's rent and security deposit. So yeah, I'm just gonna go back to, I took the last week, the car has been, a lot's been happening with the car. I've had to put everything in the car, get the car seats in the car, get my internal camera in place and wired, get my external, like, front-facing camera in place and wired, get all the decorations out, learn the infotainment system completely, because I'm going from, my last car was a 2014, this is a 2019, it has Android Auto, so I had to like learn all of that, and just learn all the rest of the infotainment that's unrelated to Android Auto, and then purchase a ton of other supplies, which took some research and stuff like that. Like I got a tire inflator, like a 12 volt tire inflator. I got a tire plug kit. I got an emergency roadside kit. I got a tiny first aid kit. I got a kid's car seat in my trunk in case I give a Lyft or Uber ride to someone who has a kid. Just a lot. So the last several days have just been like getting everything together. So my schedule's been very all over the place. So now I'm returning to the work, schedule. And honestly, I'm excited about it because a schedule that is totally unpredictable, or like 90% unpredictable, which is what it has been for almost a week now. I actually got the car on last Monday. Today is Sunday, so whatever that is, I can't check my calendar because if I leave the app, then the camera's gonna stop recording. Oh, it's actually gonna stop anyway, I'm pretty sure. I think it maxes out right around now. So yeah, that's about it for right now. Once I have the apartment, I'm gonna upload way more videos and lean super into the retreats. That's my juice, that's my life, everything right there. That's what I'm most excited about. Oh, I can't wait to do that more and make more videos on philosophy, spirituality, self-improvement. All of that stuff is all related, and I can't wait to just actually start to spend more time doing the work, the activities that I actually really want to be doing in my life. That's it for right now. I have a website called zackslibrary.com. If you want to go check it out, that'd be cool. I know there's not a lot on it right now, but I got to keep, encouraging people to do that. So, all right, guys, till next time. Peace.